G'day everyone, it's SDS SuperCoach providing SuperCoach content for you. I'm here to present my prediction on who the top 8 defenders are, the top 10 midfielders are, the top 3 rucks are, and the top 8 forwards are, with a couple of honourable mentions. So HM is meaning honourable mentions, but as you guys can already see right here, these are my predictions on who I think will finish top 8, top 10, top 3, and top 8 for each line come the end of the year. So we'll start it off in the back line. You guys can already see it, but I'll go through a little bit in detail about each player. Nick Dacos, I think Collingwood are just going to be such a good side this year where a lot of the players are going to come through him. Now, obviously, there's going to be some down scores when he gets tagged by Clark or McGuinness. To be honest, I really don't think many other taggers besides those two can get a hold of Nick Dacos, to be honest. So I think he's in for a massive year. And by the way, this is not an order, but I think Nick Dacos, I think he's looking like top 8. Jordan Dawson, I've got a feeling he's not going to be as good as he was last year. Now, that's going to be pretty hard because he did average 110. But I mean, yeah, I think a 105 average for Jordan Dawson, which is totally fine. Starts off slow during the year and then builds himself into it. Sinclair has really flew under the radar. I think he'll be a top 8 defender come the end of the year, and I think that's fine. Yeah, he's certainly a bloke we're going to probably try to get into our side when it's more that 580k, that sort of thing. So we'll see if we can afford to get him in at some point this year. But we thought Wanganeen Miller would be a problem, but he's just still going super strong. Tom Stewart, besides the 18, like his ceiling's just ridiculous. And when he comes back, Geelong will start playing more games in Geelong, and that's where he thrives. So I think Stewart will still be top 8 this year, probably in terms of average, obviously not so much on a points tally, but when he comes back and when he hits that nice range, and look, to be honest, I'm going to be honest, I'm not even sure if I'm going to bring him back in after what he did round 1, but I think there's still, I mean, he's still such a great player, so I think he'll be top 8. Sicily, I reckon, will be top 8 as well, just with the amount of ball coming into the back line. For the Hawks this year, I think that in itself makes Sicily top 8. Doherty, I still think, can bounce back. I was tossing up between him or Sard, but I think based off Doherty's history, I think Doherty can still be top 8. Another one here is Mason Redman. I think Mason Redman is what we all hoped Jordan Ridley would be. But to be honest, Redman does look like the better Essendon defender pick. So that's a bit of a shame. If he went more of a bit of a pod in Redmond, but I think there's a good chance he's top 8 this year. He just looks sensational. Just demands the ball more than Ridley. So I think Ridley's more there for a role. Redmond's there just hunting for the ball a bit more. And then Jeremy McGovern, I think he's going to be, he's looking a lot fitter. He's, I guess, moving around the ground a lot more freely. I guess similar to Sicily, the ball's going to be in the back line a lot more as well. I've added a couple of honourable mentions. Brennan Cox, he scored really high in the preseason. He scored, and then he went 150 and 130 roughly in those first two games of the season. I just think, you know what? Is this a trend? I'm not going to say he's top 10, but I just thought I'd give him a little shout out. Maybe. We'll just see. This might be more hope than whatever, but I just hope Jordan Ridley can be top 10 this year. He might have to be a luxury swap at some point because I think Redmond's just killed him, but maybe that's more hope. I'm not sure if Ridley's actually going to be a top 10 defender. To be honest, maybe I'm overreacting. Now let's get into the midfield. Tuke Miller, I think he's still just too good of a player to not be a top 10 mid once again this year. Clayton Oliver, pretty obvious. Laird, yeah, definitely will still be a very high scoring mid this year and should be top 10. Lockie Neal, I think age is starting to become a little bit of an issue, but I still think he's going to be maybe more that 6, 7, 8 range for scoring midfielders this year. Maybe not so much in that top 4 category. Bont, I think he's one of the only Bulldogs safe with Bevo, and he should just be playing midfield, and that seems like to be the case. So I think Bont's going to be top 10 for sure. LDU looks like he's ready for for a breakout season, and just looks like he's carrying that North Melbourne midfield, and he's an absolute gunner of the competition. Tom Green, I think he'll survive pretty well. Maybe towards the latter end of the season, he might average maybe 105, that sort of thing. But I think Green's going to score high enough early. Tom Green, high enough early in the season where he's going to be a top 10 mid, maybe more that 9th, 10th scoring mid. Zach Merritt, I think Zach Merritt's just a wonderful player in the competition, and his work rate's amazing, and he just gets around the ground so easily. And yeah, I think once again he'll be top 8. Paddy Cripps, usually Brownlow medalists are a bit worse in scoring, and I think that could be the case for Paddy Cripps, but I still think he's going to be top 10. And Darcy Parish, I think that's a bit of a smoky pick, but I think a lot of things are going his way, in a good way, of course. Essendon's obviously doing a lot better. Contract season, he's going to look for a lot more money, and I think Parish is going to be top 10. Honourable mentions, Jack McRae. I think Bevo's going to muck around with him too much, in all honesty. Christian Petrarca. He's always the player that's almost nearly there, but not quite. By the way, let me know if I've really forgotten anyone in the comments down below. I'll be interested to see. Top 3 rucks, I've got Witts, Marshall, and English. I think Witts, there's no signs of him slowing down. He's the solo ruck. He's had a full pre-season. I just think nothing's really stopping him from being a top 3 ruck in the competition. Rowan Marshall, once again, you'll see a common theme here. These are all solo rucks, and I think that's very important. Rowan Marshall, I think, is going to be a top 3 mid if he can stay on the park. Top 3 ruck if he's going to stay on the park. So I think that's pretty easy. And then same with Tim English. They're all solo rucks. They just need to stay on the park. And I think Marshall just works around the ground so well. Same with Tim English. Witt's not so much, but his tap work's brilliant. Honourable mention goes to Nank. If he's going to be solo ruck for most of the year, I know you've got Samson Ryan on the side, but it looks like he's spending just more forward. I know it's only one game, though. But I think Nank's going to look... I think he's actually going to score half a right this year. So a good little pod if you want to go that route. And then Max Gawn, I think his ceiling's just too ridiculous. I know he's rucking with Grundy, but I think Gawn's ceiling's just insane. I think a couple of 180s at some point this year, and they'll skyrocket that average. Forwards, I'll quickly go through this. Josh Dunkley, not really much explanation, just an absolute superstar. Errol Gulden, he's getting the midfield time that we wanted, so that's always the important thing. Tim Taranto, I think, is going to be up there, just because of the role. Obviously, it's going to be frustrating to watch, but you can't deny the role. Connor Rozee, I think he'll pick it up a bit more. As Port Adelaide, I guess they'll charge a bit more for finals this year. And he's going to be a key part of that. He was All-Australian last year. Stephen Caniglio, he's going to have a big, important role in that GWS midfield, and he's just got some absolutely ripping scores coming his way. I've gone Darcy Cameron. Now, the way the trend's going, I think Darcy Cameron's going to be a top 8 forward this year, just because I think just the way it's trending. Because if Cameron sticks to this, I guess, sort of role where Cox is certainly a lot more forward than it was before, and the split's not too bad at all. I think Darcy Cameron, because at this stage it's not really looking like many DPP blokes are coming into the forward line. No one really that relevant's projected at this stage, so that's a good sign. So we can only predict what we can. I think Darcy Cameron, top 8 forward this year, and he'd be up there in terms of honourable mentions. So I'd probably put Darcy Cameron in the honourable mentions of the ruck line. Jack Siebel, the role that he's playing, he has to, I think, if he can just stay on the park, he has to be a top 8 forward, because you see the role, it's basically 2021 again with Sheasel and Siebel just running the ball around in the back line, chip. And that is just perfect for us. And at 356k, that's why I'm definitely making sure he's coming into my side. Dylan Moore, I think this is more hope than probable, but I think the hope is later in the season he's going to boost that average up so much when they give him a bit more forward time, which is obviously very good, and that's what we want. So I think that's more hope than probable, but hopefully Dylan Moore can be top 8 this year. That'd be pretty cool. But I guess what's going to drop him down in average is just due to him playing high half forward where the ball's not going to go down there very much, but he works really hard and still does get the ball a fair bit. Zach Butters, I still think he's going to get enough midfield time where he can be a top 10 forward this year. And then there's usually a key forward in terms of top 8 rankings. And I've gone Jeremy Cameron, in my opinion, the best player in the competition. So there's usually a key forward in there. He works so hard, moves around the ground, kicks goals, gets marks. He had 25 touches last week for crying out loud. So I think Jeremy Cameron for sure. So, yeah, look, there we go, guys. As we're going to have a look at my current trades once again, there was one change. Radicale's back in, and then we've gone, who did we go? We've got Chandler on field, and we've gotten rid of, I'll just check here. We've gone Chesser out, so I think Radicale is a better keep than Chesser. So we've got 42k in the bank. Love to see it. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.